And another mass shooting in America, this time at a mall in Allen, Texas. The shooter was a 33-year-old Army veteran. Just learning as we go to air, per local ABC News in Dallas, the shooter was removed from the Army in 2008 for mental health concerns. What a shock. Nonetheless, the guy went on to get a license to work as a security guard, which we believe was his current profession. On Saturday, he killed 8 people, including at least 1 child, and wounded at least 7 others. The motive is still unclear, but police say they are investigating whether the shooter, who was Hispanic, had neo-Nazi sympathies based on a patch he wore that read RWDS. Police say that meant right-wing death squad, something cops identified as a far-right group online. Police also say he had several white supremacist posts on his social media, though, as far as we're aware, none has yet been released. He was killed by a cop who just happened to be at the mall. The mall had been declared a gun-free zone. A gun-free zone. Thank God that cop was there. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of opening up Twitter or watching the news to learn there's been yet another mass shooting in America. Sick of it. We have been over and over and over this. I have hosted countless debates. I have been as open-minded as anyone in this country to a possible change in laws that might diminish the chances of more of these happening. I am not some huge Second Amendment person, and I am not blind to possible change on either side. But nothing has worked to stop these shootings, and nothing proposed by these gun control advocates will work. I'm sorry, but the jury is in. We are not getting guns out of America. And the changes we always default to debating in the wake of these things will not stop mass shootings. It's time to focus on other remedies. It is time to focus on other remedies. Stop hijacking the debate, gun control advocates, zealots. It's like getting alligators out of the Everglades, or tarantulas out of Mexico, or sharks out of the ocean. It's not going to happen. There are too many. Too many. We're too late to reverse this trend. There are 434 million guns in America. 434 million, according to the Trade Association for the U.S. Firearm Industry. Some 70% of those are semi-automatic guns. That's over 300 million. Those AR-15s, the left is desperate to ban. That's where they go after all these shootings. There are about 20 million of those. We could ban AR-15s tomorrow, and we would still have 300 million semi-automatic guns here. Just about one for every person in America. For what it's worth, such a ban would never be upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court, which allows these bans only if the outlawed gun is considered unusual and uncommon. The 20 million AR-15s will not qualify. Handguns are the most common weapon in America, and they are by far the most common gun used in mass shootings in this country. The deadliest school shooting of all at Virginia Tech was committed entirely with semi-automatic pistols meaning handguns that fire 1 bullet per 1 trigger squeeze. That's what we mean by semi-automatic pistol. 1 bullet per 1 trigger squeeze. AR-15s are essentially the rifle, meaning long gun, version of the semi-automatic pistol. And they have been used in several high-profile, terrible mass shootings. Yes, they have, from Sandy Hook to the Vegas massacre, which was the worst mass shooting of all time in the U.S. The point is, ban the AR-15 tomorrow. Go ahead and do it. And even if the high court were to uphold the ban, there'd still be 300 million pistols, just like the AR-15 in America. The gun's already favored in the vast majority of mass shootings. We're not getting rid of these guns. Why are we deluding ourselves? Why? I think it's because people get desperate. They get so upset by the mass shootings, as do I. Trust me. I have 3 young children, and they just look for something to blame. You know, maybe I am guilty of doing it too when it comes to mental health services. Maybe I'm deluding myself that those can actually help stop. But at least there's a shot in that lane. In the gun lane, there's no shot. We've been doing this. We had an assault weapons ban, which was in place from 1994 through 2004. It failed. The DOJ's own study of the ban concluded it did not reduce gun violence. Okay, that's the government study. 2 other studies done more recently in 2020 concluded the same. Gun violence committed with the banned weapons under the assault weapons ban went down, but, quoting from the DOJ study here, The decline was offset by steady or rising use of other guns. Duh. It's a free and vast country. We are going to have people who want to kill, sometimes on a mass scale. Sometimes they use cars. We saw that in Texas, too, yesterday. A second mass event when a Hispanic man mowed down and killed the same number of people killed in that mass shooting at the mall, most of whom were migrants outside of a migrant facility. They're still trying to determine the motive. Don't forget what happened in Waukesha at the Christmas parade as that guy mowed down those innocent folks marching in the parade. Sometimes they use bombs, as we saw in Boston at the marathon. Murderers find a way. They ignored the multitude of gun laws already on the books. That's why we've seen so many mass shootings, not just in states like Texas, but in blue states like New York and Connecticut and California. I've said it before and I will say it again. What we need more than anything is better mental health services in America. It won't solve it, but it actually would help. Better facilities for the mentally unwell and insane. A new kind of institution that is as secure as a prison, but that could provide humane conditions for those deemed to be a threat. And we could establish a reasonable review panel to protect said person's civil liberties with appropriate reviews. Right now, if you know your kid's a sociopath, and there are parents out there who do, I've interviewed them, and I will be bringing you one such parent soon, and you suspect your child may be the next mass shooter, trust me, these parents are out there. There's nothing to do with your kid. Psychiatrists will tell you they cannot counsel someone out of sociopathy or psychopathy. Law enforcement will tell you they can't lock somebody up who hasn't committed a crime. The standard for psychiatric institutionalization is too high. It's impossible. We need to fortify soft targets like schools and malls. What parent wouldn't feel better knowing there's a good guy with a gun at their child's school, like there happened to be at this mall? The carnage this weekend would have been far worse in Texas if that hero cop had not just happened to be there. These aren't all the solutions, but we need to stop getting mired in and immobilized by the never-ending gun debate. It too often prevents us from taking other necessary action. The left refuses to get off the guns to the point where these self-aggrandizing lawmakers down in Nashville, Tennessee, remember them, threw a childish fit. They had a tantrum on the floor of the State House when the legislature wanted to pass a law fortifying soft targets instead of focus exclusively on gun control. Well, thank goodness the lawmakers went ahead with their business anyway over the ridiculous protests of the guy with a megaphone trying to lead his supporters. It's time to shame the gun control zealots for stopping any other reasonable debates around these shootings. I will offer my thoughts and prayers. I will. Stop trying to shame me for doing that. We need God in those moments more than any other. And just because you're not part of the gun control cult doesn't make it inappropriate. It is not inappropriate to share your thoughts and your prayers for the victims just because you don't see gun control measures as a solution, because they haven't been in any state. And I will continue starting discussions about other remedies in the wake of these shootings. That's where I'm going to go each time. Discussions about other remedies, such that we at least stand a chance of reducing these mass events. By the way, if you would like to hear a Megyn Kelly Show debate on gun control with both sides represented by reasonable people, check out episode 248, which was one of a series that we do on the show where we have these fair and balanced debates with two reasonable people, and we covered all the angles, and you might actually learn something true instead of just being a victim to all the leftist nonsense that's out there. All right, that's what I wanted to say on the gun situation. And our thoughts and prayers do go out to those down in Texas who are suffering right now. You never want to forget the families, and you never want to forget the victims. Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. This is not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. The program's complicated, but no one knows more about it than the CPAs and tax pros at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, including those who took PPP loans, even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.